Hi all, Happy New Year. I'm Rebeccawatson, and I wanted to open my first video of 2023 with a welcome to new viewers and also a note on an important change that might startle some existing viewers that I wanted you to know about. Apparently, YouTube is cracking down on profanity, and they've been demonetizing previous videos for containing words like f***, bitch, asshole, shit, and plunger. Therefore, starting in 2023, I will be bleeping out my profanity. I'm not sure where YouTube stands on the abbreviation for my favorite scientific journal, the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, but I suppose we'll just cross that when we come to it. While I'm talking about meta stuff, let me take a moment to encourage you to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. It would really help me out a lot. And also maybe even become a patron over at patreon.com/Rebecca. All of my patrons get many of my videos, most of my videos, a day or two early and ad-free. Plus, they get access to a Discord full of cool people. Plus, they get an annual thank you card sent through the actual mail. Plus, that smug feeling of knowing that I could not make more than 100 videos every year without you. Depending on your level, you can also get to do things like join in my monthly Ask Me Anything live stream. There's a weekly newsletter packed with fun stuff that I find. I could follow you on social media and actually interact with you. I do that. Or you can get your name in the end credits of every video. Wow, what a deal. Again, that's patreon.com/Rebecca, if you want to join. All of that said, I know times are tough, so I just appreciate everyone who tunes in and watches these videos. Okay, on to today's video, which is one of my favorite traditions, goofing off for one video a year and dedicating it to psychic predictions for the coming year. But first, we have to go back and check last year's predictions to see how we did for 2022. Now, if you'll recall, I tried something new for 2022 because I failed so miserably to predict all of the garbage that happened in 2020 and 2021. So for 2022, I asked my smart scientist friends for their predictions so that I could just sit back and judge their abilities. So first up was my friend Karen James, a biologist and a specialist in DNA barcoding. She said in 2021, a million-year-old mammoth's DNA was sequenced. In 2022, a paper will be published that pushes the oldest DNA to be sequenced back even further. It will not necessarily be a mammoth, but some biological sample older than 1,000,000 years will be successfully sequenced. Friends, we have a hit. Here is that paper. Buried under the permafrost of Greenland, scientists were able to find and sequence DNA fragments from 135 different species of trees, shrubs, and marine and land animals in a paper published in Nature just last month. I am flabbergasted. The mammoth DNA from last year set a record, and this has nearly doubled it. And Karen nailed it. Step aside, Miss Cleo, there's a new psychic in town. Next, I turn to Phil, the bad astronomer Plate, who predicted a number of things. First, JWST will launch and deploy perfectly, but when the first images are sent to Earth, astronomers will realize they forgot to take the lens cap off. Okay, so that one was not a hit, which is good. But screw it. You know what? Let's use that as an excuse to look at some of the pretty images that have been coming from the JWST. Phil's second prediction was Elon Musk will tweet something ridiculous, a woman will reply, "Hey, that's not nice," and 23,000 Musk bros will attack her viciously. They'll then try to get her to buy their NFTs. Okay, that was a gimme, but Phil does get extra points because it happened so much more often than anyone who isn't psychic could have possibly predicted. Prediction number 3 from Phil was 2 small asteroid impacts will occur. One will utterly destroy the Lauren Boebert re-election headquarters, and the other one will mildly singe an LGBTQ plus flag. QAnoners will claim the latter is an act of God, but the former was from Antifa. I'm so sorry to report that this one was another miss for Phil. Boebert's headquarters remained undestroyed, and she even went on to win her seat by a handful of votes. Giant asteroid for 2024? Maybe? Prediction number 4. Planet 9 will be found in sky survey data, and astrologers all over the world will say, hey, I guess we were wrong, and then turn to selling NFTs. Okay, so Planet 9, a hypothetical planet that might be lurking on the outskirts of our solar system, was not found in sky survey data, but I will give Phil partial credit here because I did find at least one astrologer who has pivoted to NFTs. I'm sure others will follow, but they probably won't give up on their main grift. Last but certainly not least, I asked my friend Gwen Bug Girl Pearson, who first predicted murder hornets will file a defamation lawsuit to be renamed involuntary manslaughter hornet. Okay, I'm going to give up another half point here. In July of this year, the Entomological Society of America officially renamed murder hornets to avoid evoking fear and xenophobia. They shall now be known as the Northern Giant Hornet. So yeah, pretty close. Bug said also one new giant hornet's nest will be found in Washington, and the Washington Department of Agriculture will continue to do an excellent job of tracking and immediately eradicating it. Seriously, they are on it. I interpreted that as sarcasm at first, and Dr. Pearson informed me it was not, and she was right. They were way more on it than even Bug thought, because apparently the Northern Giant Hornet has, at this point, seems to be eradicated from Washington state. Dr. Pearson also said Biden will eat a coney dog made from black soldier flies in order to promote the diversification of our food supply chain. This did not happen, and I am sad about it. Third, she predicted fire ants will invade Melania Trump's server and disrupt supply of her NFT amulets. This also did not happen, and I'm even sadder. Fourth, she says, Jeff Bezos will discover a hornet's nest in his fuselage and thus be prevented from getting his space penis up. Into space, that is. For this one, I said that I would accept any private space launch that failed due to insects of some sort, and I have to admit, I was unable to find a single engineer who would admit to a bug-induced failure to launch. Sorry. Bug then predicted field tests of CRISPR-edited male sterile mosquitoes will be successful at reducing Zika transmission, but outcry over Frankenbugs will stop the program. Good news, we've got another half point. In February of last year, researchers released genetically modified sterile male mosquitoes in Burkina Faso for the first time ever there. And while they didn't get data on Zika, because these were the kind of mosquitoes that carry malaria, they did find that the mosquitoes had a reduced lifespan and range. Here's even better news. The following month, data came in from a first-of-its-kind trial on the Zika mosquitoes right here in the United States. The previous year, researchers released the Frankenbugs in the Florida Keys, and this past year, they found that there had been significant progress in reducing their population, so the EPA approved the release of even more. That article does include the inevitable outcry from anti-GMO activists who are worried about unintended consequences, but their objections have largely been ignored and the program is continuing, which is fantastic news. Finally, Bug Girl predicted that 2 species of bee and 1 firefly species will go extinct due to habitat destruction. And she pointed out that there were at the time emergency actions being taken to save at least 1 species of firefly in Delaware near where I grew up, in the woods where there were fireflies everywhere every summer. So this one's a little depressing to research and to report. There are loads and loads of insect species that scientists suspect may be extinct, but they haven't officially declared them so because insects are tiny and maybe they're out there hiding somewhere and we don't want to give up hope. But looking at how many species haven't been seen in years, like a bunch of California native bees that failed to show up in a census last year, it's kind of easy to feel hopeless. But here's the good news. The Bethany Beach firefly that I mentioned previously, the Delaware firefly, is still alive and shining. If you want to help protect it, the Sierra Club suggests that people in that area turn off porch lights when they are not in use or set outdoor lights on a timer, which can reduce light pollution. Light pollution is an especially important issue in firefly conservation because the night lights interfere with the firefly's ability to use their bioluminescent lights to communicate with each other. Another thing people can do is to stay on the trail in state parks. Going off the state park trails could lead to visitors trampling on freshwater interdunal swale habitat, crushing firefly eggs and larvae. Delawareans can also protect the Bethany Beach firefly by encouraging Delaware policymakers to improve our endangered state species and wetlands protection policy. Lastly, people can help researchers with population tracking by recording sightings of the firefly through the iNaturalist app or Xerces Society Firefly Atlas. And that's it from Bug Girl. Not bad psychic hits from some very non-psychic scientist friends. Good job, everybody. Now, I went back and forth on whether to do the same thing for 2023. I hate asking my pals to do work for me, but honestly, I learned so much from this exercise and I found it really fun. So I reached out to the same bunch of friends again to see if they wanted to do it. And much to my happy surprise, they did. So here's what my nerdy scientist pals are predicting for the coming year. Biologist and DNA specialist Karen James has humbly declined what she considers an easy opportunity to predict that an even older ancient DNA discovery will be announced, and instead is going with someone will resurrect either as cells, embryos, or actual young, an extinct species. They'll try to justify it by suggesting it is ecologically relevant, but it will not truly be. Okay, that last bit might turn out to be true, but it would still be pretty cool. You know, relevance be damned, someone breed me a pygmy woolly mammoth. Dr. James also predicts Ancestry.com will merge with Twitter and charge $8 a month for Twitter Blue Gene, which will provide a scientifically bogus validation of one's race or genealogy of choice to win arguments against SJWs. That is... Honestly, I can see that happening. Like, this user is verified to be 1% African and therefore is allowed to say the N-word. Like, you can see it happening, right? Next up, astronomer Phil Plait takes a swing. JWST will see an unambiguous gay pride flag in a distant galaxy. NASA will still refuse to consider changing the observatory's name. Okay, if you guys aren't aware, JWST stands for the James Webb Space Telescope, which has been the subject of controversy for years because individual scientists, the Royal Astronomical Society, the American Astronomical Society, Nature, New Scientist, Scientific American, loads of institutions have begged NASA to change the name, considering that James Webb oversaw NASA at a time when the agency was purging gay employees, and he may have even been actively complicit himself. So that's fun. And yeah, so it's not out of the question that NASA might find evidence of gay extraterrestrial life and still refuse to change the name of their observatory. Dr. Plait has a few more predictions for 2023. Elon Musk will buy the ACLU and shut it down. Possible. Lauren Boebert will be arrested on felony assault charges. Very possible. Astronomers will discover 422 new exoplanets. I have no idea how possible that is. That's why I do these things. I can't wait to find out. And globally, 2023 will be the fourth warmest year on record, just edging out 2022. Sadly, yeah, that is also very possible. Finally, Phil says, my book, Under Alien Skies, will become a national bestseller and a TV series will be optioned based on it. Sadly, I will be replaced as its host by an AI that will generate images of an astronomer waving their hands a lot and saying things like, well, the view from here is amazing. Of course you'd be dead in seconds. Okay, well done, Phil. Way to get that plug in there. I love the hustle. I'll add my own prediction that the AI in question, the host will be male with a goatee, glasses, and a suspect hairline. Just saying. Finally, we have my entomologist pal, Gwen Bug Girl Pearson, who blessedly actually gave contextual references for every one of her predictions, which, again, I love because I love learning. So she starts out, the National Butterfly Center will be attacked again and closed again for an extended period in 2023. In case you missed it, Dr. Pearson points out that last year the Butterfly Center was threatened by QAnon conspiracy theorists who claimed that it was run by, and I quote, left-wing thugs with a sham butterfly agenda. On a side note, if any graphic artists out there want to make me a left-wing thug with a sham butterfly agenda t-shirt, I would very much appreciate it. Thank you. Number 2, Bug predicts PETA will take up the defense of spotted lanternflies, hindering USDA and state agencies' ability to control the pest. Alicia Silverstone will try to pose nude with 10,000 lanternflies, but eventually walks off the set covered in honeydew. Fans of this channel will immediately understand the context of this one, and honestly, this prediction has a really good chance of coming true, in my opinion. Prediction 3. For a second year, no northern giant hornets, aka murder hornets, will be found in the Pacific Northwest. Okay, this is technically just re-upping her prediction from last year, but I'll allow it. I'm a benevolent YouTuber. Prediction 4. The National Park Service request for people to stop licking toads will be expanded to millipede licking. Okay, this one made me laugh and learn, which is the best thing that a thing can do. She points out that in November of last year, the NPS released this plea on Facebook. As we say with most things you come across in a national park, whether it be a banana slug, unfamiliar mushroom, or a large toad with glowing eyes in the dead of night, please refrain from licking. These toads have prominent parotoid glands that secrete a potent toxin. It can make you sick if you handle the frog or get the poison in your mouth. So there is a bit of a psychedelic fad happening right now, which led to this statement, not only to protect people who might consume more frog sweat than they realize, but also to protect the frogs themselves who are at risk of a population collapse. Meanwhile, a BBC documentary revealed last year that lemurs are getting high on millipedes. So, cool, new possible drug. That said, lemurs and millipedes, those lemurs and those millipedes are in Madagascar. So, not sure the US NPS has much to worry about, but we'll keep an eye on it. Who knows what 2023 will bring us. Please stay tuned to find out how my cadre of nerds does this year.